Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here for KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Amanda Rowley. Whitney Ward is off this afternoon. Well, we're counting down the hours to when the Zags face Arkansas in the Sweet 16 tomorrow. Now, before we preview the matchup, let's test your Gonzaga knowledge. How many blocks does Chet Holmgren need on Thursday to break Brandon Clark's school record for blocks in a season? Think about it, and we'll have the answer here in a few minutes. Now, Gonzaga spoke with the media today ahead of tomorrow's Sweet 16 game against Arkansas, and our Travis Green has a preview on the matchup where the Bulldogs are heavy favorites.
Just feel great about being able to do this seven times in a row. We're not just taking that for granted, and we've definitely enjoyed every part of it.
Gonzaga back in the Sweet 16 yet again. The top-seeded Bulldogs set to face fourth-seeded Arkansas on Thursday, a game where the team from Spokane is a 9.5-point favorite, but they aren't seeing it that way.
They're a really good freaking team. They have a nice combination of just athleticism, length, and then they have a stretch five who's good as well. So it's going to be a big challenge, and they're a really good team. And I don't think they're being disrespected. I think they're a really good team, at least in our eyes.
Head coach Eric Musselman is using the underdog theme to his team's advantage, making sure they know the outside world isn't giving them a chance.
You know, when we do a film session, there's stuff spliced in on what people have said, 1,000%. I don't mind, conveying that. We understand the respect factor for us in this particular game is kind of non-existent from a national perspective. So yeah, our guys are going to see it, hear it, all the way up until tip-off.
The Razorbacks are a team that can lock down their opponent, giving up under 60 points a game this season, led by senior guard J.D. Note, who is averaging over 18 points a game and is 14th in the country in steals with 2.3 per game.
Handful, man, a handful. So good in transition. I mean, he can pull the three on you, or he can lift, fake, and drive and get a crease and get downhill. Great at getting to the line. So a handful. Those guys are hard, and he's on quite a roll. So we'll have to guard him as a group.
Stopping Note will be key for the Zags, and for Arkansas, in Musselman's eyes, their transition defense has to be near perfect to keep up.
It can't be pretty good. It better be great, or we have no chance.
And he knows this from watching the WCC throughout the year.
Weirdly enough, I went to San Diego, which is in the same conference. And so I watch this conference whenever I can. And if they're ever on TV, it's always Gonzaga. It's not San Diego, Santa Clara, I promise you that.
Well, the Zags take on Arkansas this Thursday right here on KREM 2. Tip-off is set to go on at 4 o'clock, and you can join us early right here on KREM 2 for a Bulldog Madness special. Now, earlier we asked you how many more blocks does Chet Holmgren need to break the school record? The answer is 3. Chet has 115 blocks on the season, which is just short of the 117 blocks that Brandon Clark had 3 seasons ago. Now, Spokane will see thousands of tourists this weekend, and that means increased revenue at our local hotels, restaurants, and shops. KREM 2's Janelle Finch is live at the Spokane Arena to tell us more about how nearby businesses prepare for these peak moments. Janelle?
Hi, Amanda. For the first time in 2 years, the NCAA Women's Tournament is back in Spokane. Teams from across the country are coming out to play in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Along with them are family and fans. Spokane businesses look forward to the increased revenue. Ohio State, Texas, Maryland, and Stanford University basketball teams will play in Spokane starting Friday. The Spokane Airport already has signs up welcoming the teams and their fans. According to Visit Spokane's public relations manager, the city estimates over $4 million for Spokane's economy. Restaurants like David's Pizza, just steps away from the arena, look forward to these events that bring out out-of-town visitors, as well as more local diners. The kitchen manager says increased business equals an increased staff.
We're going to see probably double, in some cases, the normal number of staff that we would have on during these peak moments. Friday and Sunday in particular, we're going to be busy all day. There will be no lull. There will be no moment where things quiet down.
The Spokane Arena will also be the home to the first 2 rounds of the 2024 NCAA men's basketball tournament. People who buy tickets to the women's tournament games this weekend will be added to a priority waiting list to buy tickets for that event as well. You can purchase tickets on TicketWest.com now. You can either purchase tickets for individual matchups or an all-weekend pass. Live in Spokane, Janelle Finch, KREM 2 News.
All right, thanks, Janelle. The women's NCAA tournament isn't the only event we're hosting this weekend. The Pacific Northwest Qualifier Volleyball Tournament is coming to town this Friday. The annual event brings in thousands of people from across the country and millions of dollars in revenue to Spokane. This is the first year matches will be held at the Podium. The Spokane Convention Center, Hub Sports Center in Liberty Lake, and Eastern Washington University will also host teams over the next 2 weekends. Masks are optional for attendees. And you can bet Cougar fans will be cheering on their team tonight as they take on BYU at 6 p.m. in Provo, Utah. That game can be watched on ESPN2. And of course, we will have highlights and post-game coverage on KREM 2 News at 10 and 11. And for all the latest March Madness headlines and more, just text the word March to 509-448-2000. We'll send you information straight to your phone. We're going to shift gears to weather now. Cody, it really felt like spring today. I did see a little bit of showers on the way into work today, but the question is here, when is it going to feel like summer? Because I am ready for it.
Honestly, I think we're all ready for it, but I'm just going to give you a word of warning. Enjoy the season that we have right now because we just kicked that off, and today definitely epitomized that spring weather. Right now, current temperatures over at the Spokane Airport is 59 degrees. We are seeing those partly cloudy skies, a little breezy at the moment. Southwest winds at 13 miles per hour right now. From what I'm still keeping an eye on for when that almanac will come in for today, because of course we've been wondering, are we going to get 60 degrees today? So we'll see if we actually reach there, but we are awfully close right now at about 6 minutes after 4. We're across the region down into the lower Columbia Basin, already in the 60s. Ritzville at 62, 56 right now for Grand Coulee, 57 for Coeur d'Alene, 46 in Sandpoint right now. Across the region, there's that bit of showers we had skip through our region. We're not quite done with it yet, though, because we're keeping track of a cold front for later this evening. That could be bringing us a skipping of some showers again later this evening. Could also be bringing us some breezy winds. So here's when we could potentially see some of those showers, potentially around 7, 8 o'clock tonight. And then we start to dry off a bit into tomorrow morning. Temperatures very mild expected to be for tonight. Also later this evening, might see those winds pick up when we take a look at our wind gusts for the next 12 hours. So we're looking at that with that cold front moving through. I'll have more coming up in your full forecast in a few minutes. Amanda, back to you.
All right, thank you, Cody. Coming up, big news out of Idaho as one of the most restrictive abortion laws was signed into law today. What it means for women in Idaho next. And coming up in our second half hour at 4:30, a KREM 2 cold case investigation. It took 62 years to solve the murder of Candy Rogers. The 9-year-old little girl was brutally kidnapped, raped, and killed back in 1959, and no one was ever arrested. But just a few months ago, Spokane police announced DNA evidence led them to the man responsible. We spoke with cold case detectives, and for the first time, Candy's extended family sat down with KREM 2 for a TV interview.
You've said that this hasn't necessarily brought closure to you.
No.
What has it brought?
It's not closure, but at least there's some form of satisfaction there knowing that the person that did it is at least named.
Hear more from Candy's family and the investigators who never gave up on the case. We'll be right back.